TGO, Tom Grunwald Outdoors, is brought to you in part by HT Premium Ice Tackle, Polar Fire Gear. This is how it's done. Vexilar, ice fishing begins when you turn your Vexilar on. And Tourism Saskatchewan, Canada's best freshwater fishing.
If that was you, a family member or friend, would you know what to do to get yourself back to safety? Welcome to Tom Grunwald Outdoors. I'm Tom Grunwald. Today we're going to be visiting with the Neenah Menasha Fire Department, located in Neenah Menasha, right on Wisconsin's largest inland lake, Lake Winnebago. And they've got a whole bunch of tips that they're going to share with us today regarding ice safety. And I think it's very important for us, whether we're beginners or seasoned veterans, to make sure that we review ice safety, that we take safety precautions before heading out onto the ice, and bring proper equipment along with us in the event of an accident. And these guys are going to help us out with some tips and pointers in that regard today. You know, I think most of us realize ice doesn't form the same everywhere. Obviously, the further north you go or the higher the altitude that you get, faster that the ice is going to form or the sooner it's going to form. But you can have two lakes in the exact same area, a half mile apart. One might be a large, deep, wind-strewn lake. The other might be more of a shallow, wind-protected lake. And that deeper volume lake is going to freeze at a lot slower rate than that shallower one nearby. And again, for that matter, ice doesn't form the same across the surface of an individual body of water uniformly. There's all kinds of variables that can influence ice formation. Springs, currents, inflows, outflows, aeration systems. Fluctuating water on a reservoir or a flowage can change the shoreline conditions of the ice dramatically. You could have a flock of birds that lands somewhere and stays out in the middle of a body of water for a period of time before leaving, and that ice can refreeze, and that's going to be thinner than the ice surrounding it. So there's a lot of things to think about. These guys are going to help offer some tips to us today for how to stay safe while we're on the ice, precautions that we should take while traveling on the ice, and in the event we would happen to go through, how to use those things to get ourselves back to safety. And in the event that a rescue team would have to come out and help you, they're going to let you know some of the things you can do to help them help you. I'm here with Captain Ryan Krings, and Ryan, one of the first things people really need to do before they head out onto the ice is check the conditions. What kind of resources are available for people to do that before they actually step onto the ice?
Well, locally you're going to have bait shops, sporting goods stores, DNR, wardens are a great tool. Local fishing guides, they're out there almost every day of the week fishing. They're going to know where the ice is good and bad. Those are all tools that we recommend people using, blogs or websites that'll give you information for people that are out there every day.
And then once you do step onto the ice, I always like to take a chisel with me and just kind of poke ahead.
Great idea, especially early, late season ice, to make sure that you've got ice that's going to support you. Taking a chisel similar to this, somebody leading the way and actually checking the ice to see how much you have, 6 inches, an inch, a foot. That way you know that you've got safe or unsafe ice without having to put a vehicle or a person through.
And it's always a good idea to carry along like these safety picks, something around your neck like these. They're picks that you can use to help slide yourself or pull yourself out of the water back onto the ice. The kind here with the lanyard that goes through the sleeves is nice, like the children's mittens, keeps the picks handy at all times. And the retractable sheath protects you from that point, but when needed, you can use that. You got the arm guards, which also help to keep your arm from sliding in addition to the pick to pull yourself out. But I think there's some other things people could probably consider bringing along with them too. Do you have any thoughts on that or recommendations?
A lot of the things that we bring with us on rescues every time we go out, people have laying around the house can bring with them. It's going to help them positively make a rescue. We carry rope bags like this. It's 50 feet to 75 feet of rope in a bag that you can throw to somebody. So you're not putting yourself in jeopardy of falling in the ice along with them. You can hopefully at least secure them before the rescue team gets there. Ice conditions where you don't have snow cover, hard to walk, hard to get traction. The cleats that you can put on your boots, it's going to give you a better condition where you're able to walk or at least try and hold that rope if you have to.
Okay, and then today's technology is important. GPS is huge. You can actually go and you can get coordinates for areas of bad ice or ice heaves and cracks. I like to actually hit a waypoint where I leave the shore, and then I can actually, while I'm on the ice, if I get into some kind of a situation where I'm in a whiteout or get disoriented, I can follow that same path back to shore safely. Cell phones are huge. Right?
Yes, everybody carries cell phones now. Our comm center And a lot of the comm centers in the state can, when you call them, actively pick up a GPS coordinate from your cell phone, which in turn they can give to us, so that instead of us going out and performing a search to find you, we can get at least close to where your coordinates are using the cell phone that you've got.
And a lot of your team recommended that gets kept in a Ziploc bag or a waterproof pouch,
Right.
so that it's available if it gets wet. Obviously, may not be of any use. And also, having an LED light, just like one on the cell phone, you know, you use the GPS coordinates to get to the right area. If it happens to be twilight or an evening condition, that LED or the light on the cell
Right.
phone might help you locate the person.
Right. We've used the cell phone lights before, even the small lights that you clip on your hat, some kind of a lighting mechanism that we can at least see. It's going to make our response that much quicker.
Join us here today on Tom Grunwald Outdoors as we review ice safety.
You're watching TGO, Tom Grunwald Outdoors. HT is the long-standing, time-proven leader in tip-up innovation, and the innovations continue with HT's revolutionary new Polar Thunder tip-up. The Polar Thunder features a compact, easy-to-transport and store frame, large-capacity 500-foot spool, glow-in-the-dark trip shaft, and most importantly, the adjustable flag wire system allows you to create increased trip tension when fishing big baits for big fish, or decreased tension when fishing small ones for fussy light biters.
Nothing beats ice fishing. Nothing.
Attention ice anglers, if you're looking for a premium power auger, look no further. The Polar Fire Power Auger features a quiet, quick-starting, smooth-running two-cycle engine that fires fast even in cold weather. The 43 and 52 cc engines deliver excellent torque, and the custom-engineered twin chipper blades, stabilized by the Polar Fire center point system, slice cleanly through the ice without slipping or grabbing, then cut through the whole base without pulling. Polar Fire Gear. This is how it's done.
Hi, Dave Genge here with some exciting news. This is the FLX28, a winter fishing sonar system that is a true game changer. It has digital depth, auto ranging, and 5 color display options, and tons of other great features, all packed into one amazing unit, the FLX28. And check out the DD100. Fits any Vexilar flasher and gives you digital depth readout, plus your battery status. To learn more about all these great Vexilar products, go to Vexilar.com.
Joining me now from the Neenah Menasha Fire Department is Chris Ader. Chris is one of the dive rescue team members here with the fire department. And, you know, despite our best efforts, accidents do happen. I'd like to ask you just a few tips, and there's questions people ask all the time. Does the hole look dark up there, or does it look light when I look upward? Should I try to get on my back, float onto my belly? Should I try to get some of the heavy clothes off? All kinds of things like that. And I'm just curious, okay, if you and I are out fishing and I go through the ice, what kind of things should the two of us be doing to take action so that we can ensure that I'm going to get back up safely?
If your friend falls in, person on top of the ice should definitely call 911. Get that process rolling, get the rescue crew coming. If you're the person in the water and you fall through and you're looking up and you find yourself under the ice, try to stay calm, reach up. If you're touching the ice, feel around, you're probably not far from the hole. Grab onto the edge if you can find it, and then kind of pull yourself to the edge of the ice there. If you're the friend on top of the ice and you see your friend come up, you've already called 911, they're on their way. You can possibly rescue your friend, but you don't want to get too close to the hole to create a second victim situation.
Okay, let's just say now it's you and I out there, and for whatever reason you're in the water and I'm not able to get you out. The ice rescue team is going to come. What kind of things can we expect to see in terms of equipment and the process that you're going to use to help get that person safely back out of the water and back onto the ice?
Basically, we're going to be in suits. It's going to be water suits. We've got some suits here to show you later on. We're going to have flotation devices on us, so we're going to get in the water with that person. If we can't pull them out ourselves right on the surface too, we're going to get in the water and we're going to bear hug that person, and we'll have a rope attached to us. If you're the victim, just listen to your rescuer. He's going to tell you exactly what to do to get you out safely.
You're going to be there to provide instructions, and it's key just to try to stay calm, listen to the instructions, follow those. You know, we could go through this whole procedure. We get the person back up on the ice, and a lot of people might think, okay, they're out of the water, we got through the situation, but really, the situation from a rescue standpoint for you has only begun. You've still got to get that person who's now wet in very cold air temperatures with possible serious wind chills and maybe suffering serious hypothermia back to the shore. So what kind of things do you do at this point to help that victim so that you know you're going to get them back to shore safely?
Basically, that rescue team is going to want to get all the wet clothes off of you. It depends on how you went in. If it was traumatic way of going in, they're going to want to put a longboard on you and make sure that you don't have any spinal neck injuries, things like that. And then what they're going to do is get all the clothes off of you and put you inside of, it's a warming blanket, it's like a big sleeping bag. They'll take you back in the boat that we have here.
Let's just say that it's a situation where you and I are fishing, I went in the water, you helped me out. We don't have any ice rescue team, there's no EMTs, paramedics, or anybody else present. What things should I do
Okay.
to try to get warmed up as fast as I can in that situation?
Basically, again, you're gonna wanna get those cold, wet clothes off and try to, if you have anything like an emergency blanket, things like that to wrap that person in, possibly some of your clothes, if you're warm enough, take off your jacket because it's dry and warm, give that to them so that they can warm up.
Okay.
And make sure that 911 was called and that process has started and get those ambulance and fire trucks coming.
So essentially it's the same procedure. What you want to do is get those
Yes.
wet clothes off and try to warm your body. It sounds like a gradual warming when you're talking about wrapping in a blanket or wrapping in somebody else's coat or clothing that's
Yep.
dry, and try to just start to gradually warm that person just as you would treat frostbite, essentially.
Absolutely.
All right, and I've got to ask about the boat. I'm really interested in this airboat. Can you tell me a little bit about it? Obviously, it's a little different than launching a boat in the summertime. You're actually taking that boat and launching it, so to speak, onto the ice. And as you're trying to drive it and run this thing out across the ice, you don't have any kind of a keel or a rudder below the surface of the water. So I imagine it must be difficult and kind of unique to be able to handle this boat too, correct?
We have it on a trailer, and we'll trailer it out just like you trailer any boat out to the landing. We'll get to the landing and we can deploy this right on top of the road if there's snow on there, or we can back it down in if there's ice down below on the water. We can back it down and it just tilts up, just kind of slides off the trailer. Once it's on the snow or ice, we can maneuver it or point it in the right direction because it's powered by a fan. And then once we're out there, we're kind of at the mercy of the wind a little bit too, because the wind can kind of throw us around a little bit. There's no, like we said before, no keel to guide you. It's a steering wheel with rudders on it that kind of guide you out there.
The rudders are up in the air, so
Yep.
when you're out on a windy lake with all kinds of wind currents and gusty winds, you've got a challenge just really handling that boat. So I imagine you have to be
Absolutely.
trained especially in the operation of just driving one of these boats on the ice.
Definitely, definitely. It's hard to manage it, and once you get to the site where you do have a rescue, we also have to manage it there too, because the wind can blow it after it's stopped also.
All right, excellent. Well, I really appreciate all the tips and the help.
No problem.
Hey, join us. We're going to go out with the dive team from the Neenah Menasha Fire Department right after this. You know, I wanted to point out one of the most amazing things I had as far as this experience working with the Neenah Menasha Fire and Ice Rescue Team was the speed to which they were able to get moving. From the time they left their office, got into their safety flotation suits, hopped into the emergency vehicle, and left the station. There's no way it was more than a minute and a half to 2 minutes. It went by extremely quickly. And even the time that it took them to transport the gear and the crew to the site, I would say it was less than 5 minutes. Again, it depends on the location of the place where they need to go. Still, it's reassuring to know just how fast these professionally trained people can move and get out there to help you. So if we are in need, you are in good hands. The boat that they use, it's amazing. This Kevlar reinforced hull allows them to travel right across the ice. We launch actually right on top of the ice. And of course, there are times we need to go through open water, pressure ridges with open water and cracks. The boat travels right across those with ease. It's kind of interesting going out with these guys. I knew full well we were going to be heading over to a river mouth where there was unsafe ice. It's still a funny feeling. You're going across on 10 or 12 inches of ice. All of a sudden, as you approach the river mouth, you see open water ahead. You know the ice isn't safe and you're going to break through. And I'll tell you, it's a funny sensation when that boat does break through like that. But we traveled over to the river mouth where there was some chunks of pack ice. The main part of it was probably 5, 6, 7 inches thick. We had a place where we could pull the boat up. As is normal protocol, the team pulled up to the ice cake and secured the boat to it so it didn't drift away and leave anybody stranded. And once we had the boat secured, we had Steve Kruger, our victim, come out to help us out here a little bit. Steve started apprehensively walking toward an area we knew was unsafe. And this is scenario one. Boom, you fall in. If you have a partner with you, you've got someone there to help you, you can go ahead and you can extend something out like a safety throw rope, for example, like we had. First time I threw one, what do you think of that? This way here I can secure myself and he can kind of distribute his weight, get himself up toward the surface of the water where I can pull him back to safe ice. Another scenario might be an instance where you don't have someone with you. And in those cases, you're going to need to use your ice picks and try to get yourself out. Now note here that a trained professional in perfect condition and someone who's done this many times before knows how to deal with it. Look how he's straining just to try to pull himself back up to the ice pack. It's not an easy thing to do, but the ice picks make it a lot less challenging and make it a little easier. Here's a situation where someone falls in. Let's say that there's no one there and you can't get yourself out. You're going to need the ice rescue team to assist you. If that happens, this is what you can pretty much expect. They'll secure the boat. Notice how the rescue team distributes their weight, makes their way across the ice, approaches the victim, is giving instruction now the whole time, gets in with the victim, and you'll watch here, you'll see him tap his head. That's a signal to his partner that the victim is secured and they're ready to start making the move. And here he can pull them back across onto safe ice to the boat where they can be transported, warmed, and taken in for the appropriate medical treatment.
You're watching TGO, Tom Grunwald Outdoors. Today's ice anglers need to be efficient, and HT offers a huge selection of premium ice tackle designed to meet virtually every application. Whether you fish bluegills, crappie, perch, stocked trout, whitefish, walleyes, pike, or lake trout, HT has what it takes to make you consistently successful.
Nothing beats ice fishing, nothing!
Attention ice anglers. If you want innovation, convenience, efficiency, comfort, quality, and action, look no further than the all-new line of premium Polar Fire Gear. Polar Fire Gear. This is how it's done.
Hi, Dave Genge here with some exciting news. This is the FLX28, a winter fishing sonar system that is a true game changer. It has digital depth, auto ranging, and 5 color display options, and tons of other great features, all packed into one amazing unit, the FLX28. And check out the DD100. Fits any Vexilar flasher and gives you digital depth readout, plus your battery status. To learn more about all these great Vexilar products, go to Vexilar.com.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Tom Grunwald Outdoors. You know, I really can't describe the feeling that overcame me as we approached the river mouth in that airboat. I knew we were getting up to unsafe ice. I was anticipating that the boat was going to break through. I knew I was safe and I was with rescue personnel. I didn't have anything to worry about, and yet I still had just a wave of fear overcome me when that broke through. I'd never experienced anything like that. And I'd like to introduce you here to Steve Kruger. Steve is publisher of Outdoor Boundary magazine. Steve, you volunteered to be our victim today and break through the ice. I felt a wave of fear when we broke through in the boat. Can you describe how you felt when you broke through that ice today?
It was sudden and very abrupt and very disorientating. It was a very unique experience indeed.
Yeah, I mean, what about, at one point you actually went completely underneath the water. Can you describe that?
Yeah, well, it caught me off guard. I broke through about 5 feet before I thought I was going to break through. So I fell face first into it. I went under the water. I was disorientated. I could not tell which way I was turned or which way was up, but I did float back up to the top right away. And when I stuck my head back out, I still was a little bit disorientated in where I was.
One of the tips that some of the dive team personnel offered is look for the bubbles. Watch, the bubbles are always going to come up. So that can help you get up on, feel up for the ice, try to feel for the edge and pull yourself out. And I think this is a good time to kind of recap some of the things that we talked about today. First of all, we don't want to get ourselves in these situations, and I don't want to see any of you ever get in one of these situations either. The reason for putting this show together today was to remind you, again, check all the resources you can before you head out on the ice. Make sure that you've talked to the Department of Natural Resources. Contact local bait shops or sport shops. Talk to local guides, are a great source of information. Find out what the ice conditions are like. Be sure you can avoid areas of bad ice. And areas of bad ice include ice heaves and cracks. Obviously, areas in front of inlets, areas in front of outlets, places where there might be springs or the presence of currents. On big waters, if there's open water blowing, the wind is blowing water, that forms a current that can erode the currents underneath. There's all sorts of variables and situations. Ice, remember, does not form uniformly across the surface of a body of water, and it's important to always pay special attention to what you're doing and make sure that in case of an accident, you've got all the precautionary measures along with you. We showed the ice picks. We showed making sure you've got ice cleats, carrying a rope or one of these rope bags along so that you can extend something out to help someone in the event they do fall in the water. And we've got a couple of our ice rescue team members here from the Neenah Menasha Fire Department. They're going to offer us a few more last-minute tips. So let's check in here and see what Jeff and Mike would like to add here as we conclude our show.
Biggest way to prevent a situation when you go on ice, I guess, is just be prepared. The best way to be prepared is make sure you have the right equipment. Ice alls, like you saw us use in the video, a cell phone preferably in a Ziploc bag in case you do fall through. A lot of people's lives have been saved by cell phones. We work on a 911 system. It's called Enhanced 911. We can actually locate GPS coordinates as if somebody does call 911 by cell phone. And because we have GPSs in all of our boats, we can punch those coordinates in, and it saves a lot of time for us out there searching. Ice cleats on your feet is a big thing. As you saw when we were retrieving our victim today, Steve, the ice cleats were essential for pulling out. If you don't have them, finding some sort of anchor spot, an ice auger hole can work really good to put your foot in, and that can allow you to then counter out the weight of the victim you're trying to pull out. Otherwise, if you're on bare ice, you're just going to get pulled right back into the hole.
The ice is never 100% safe, but if you are going to drive out in your vehicle on the ice, take your seatbelt off, roll your window down. It's a good idea to have a life jacket with you. Like in my truck, I got a rope in there. In case you see somebody else go through, you can always throw them a rope and help them out. Watch the ice conditions where you are. Go get information from local bait shops and stuff like that.
Thank you for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed today's show and that you picked up a few tips that help keep you not only more productive, but safer while you're on the ice. I'd like to thank all the members of the Neenah Menasha Fire Department, your dive rescue team for helping us today, Steve Kruger for being our victim out there on the ice and going in the water. Again, hope that you've picked up some pointers and tips so that you'll have a safe and productive winter. And we'll see you again right here next time on Tom Grunwald Outdoors.
TGO has been brought to you in part by HT Premium Ice Tackle, Polar Fire Gear. This is how it's done. Vexilar. Ice fishing begins when you turn your Vexilar on. And Tourism Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan, Canada's best freshwater fishing. TGO, where it's all ice fishing all the time.